February 10th, 2026, Montecito. At exactly 3:46 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, beneath the faint glow of perimeter halogen beams, a convoy of fortified vans exited the rear service entrance of the Sussex family's $14.6 million property. Inside those steel-plated cargo holds lay 30 years of palace keepsakes, locked boxes of judicial to Minerally Andes paperwork and valuables, stamped for immediate transport. Don't call it a move. This was a tactical withdrawal, planned with the chilling realization that time was up. The countdown had started not only on their Hollywood ambitions, but on Harry's status as a prince. Simultaneously, across the pond in London, a dossier labeled Urgent Operation Dual Strike arrived at the monarch's personal office at Sandringham Estate. It contained two distinct termination mandates. One listed Henry Charles, Albert David, while the second targeted Andrew, Albert Christian Edward. Both bore the official crest. Both carried the signature of King Charles III. Both were final. We aren't looking at a practice run. This is a dynasty cleanup, the most aggressive centralization of authority inside the House of Windsor in more than 80 years. At 8 o'clock post-meridian Greenwich Mean Time, on February 9th, after a 42-minute private conference involving top legal counselors and the head of the Privy Council, the King formally triggered the Monarchy Preservation Directive, identifying a pair of dangers to the Crown's structural foundation. First, the fiscal and commercial undermining of the throne by the Sussexes, and second, the toxic public image resulting from Prince Andrew's lingering situation, as his continued residence at Royal Lodge sparks ongoing civic anger. With a single move, Charles decided to wipe the slate clean, choosing deletion over banishment. The crown refuses to be held ransom by individuals monetizing their heritage or shielding themselves with tragedy. A high-ranking staffer claims the king's stated ancestry cannot justify the erosion of values. Although media outlets are bound to obsess over the personal toll, this isn't a domestic soap opera. It is a strategic power play designed to secure the future framework of the reign for William and Catherine. Cutting through sentimental ties and duties, even ignoring his late mother's plea to look after Andrew, Charles has taken the hardline bureaucratic route. He picked crown over blood relatives. Insiders at Clarence House suggest the strategy was drafted in November 2025, yet only launched recently due to a trifecta of colliding events. Harry's Montecito estate was revealed to be used as security for debt via a Delaware shell corporation. Andrew turned down a discreet move from Royal Lodge. Encouraged by judicial gray areas and family mercy, William and Catherine saw their popularity scores hit a record peak, providing Charles the social capital to strike. Consequently, the verdict was set: oust Harry in the public eye, then dismantle Andrew in court. On January 28, 2026, Crown accountants unearthed proof of Harry, leveraging royal titles as off the books guarantees for a $4.2 million short-term loan. Charles marked this as a violation of palace protocol. On January 31st, 2026, at 4:12 in the morning, Mountain Standard Time, the Sussex Protection Team began a stealth exit from Riven Rock, packing 12 heavy-duty lockers during a 2-hour window. The goal: evade confiscation during a potential foreclosure, government lien. On February 1st, 2026, Princess Anne mandated an immediate lock on every British family fund connected to Harry and Meghan. Catherine inked a revision protecting the Duchy of Cornwall from any foreign petitions. February 6, 2026. Private surveys indicated approval for William and Catherine's governance hit 74%. This marks the best numbers for a royal pair since the 1980s. February 9, 2026. At 8 in the evening, GMT, King Charles initiates the Stability Directive. On February 10, 2026, at 6 in the morning, GMT, a formal packet-marked deletion sequence was dispatched by diplomatic messenger to Los Angeles, granting Harry and Meghan 72 hours to adhere to a living and business desist mandate. Failure to comply means the palace will finalize heritage stripping on March 31, 2026. Initially, listing Riven Rock looks like a simple lifestyle reduction, but confidential files acquired by research units reveal a far grimmer picture. Daily protection and running costs sit at $8,200. Yearly expenditure hits $2.9 to $6 million. Overdue levies and upkeep amount to $780,000. Stalled media payments linked to ethics violations total $6.4 million. The main debt to Blue Magnolia LLC stands at $4.2 million, payable by April 2026. Combine this with reports that American immigration authorities are auditing Prince Harry's green card and visa eligibility. And you see why the couple is scrambling. A past royal attorney notes this isn't optional. They are running from pressure from the Crown and U.S. law. It is a meltdown on two sides. The reaction to the February 10th declaration has been massive. In just 12 hours, Buckingham Palace's verified feeds experienced a 37% jump in favorable interactions. Downing Street released an uncommon endorsement, commending the Crown's bold, rules-first approach is winning folks over. U.K. papers, who used to soft-pedal Harry, are now cheering for Charles as the Iron Monarch. The real driver behind this pole bump? The palace finally drew a line in the sand. For years, critics said the royal family had no spine when it came to defending itself. But now, with Harry pushed toward a complete break and Andrew on the chopping block, the firm is clapping back with zero apologies. And the public, sick of the constant soap opera, is absolutely loving it. While Prince Harry's midnight run from Montecito still hugs the spotlight, a second, much darker storm is brewing back in London. Prince Andrew, the disgraced Duke, is now square in the sights of a royal machine that's done playing nice. What started as a specific hit on Harry has triggered a full-blown house cleaning, something they've wanted to do for ages. Inside Buckingham Palace, staffers call this joint operation the Windsor Reset. The philosophy is brutal but smart. No title without the work. No mansion without showing up. And no perks without loyalty. At the center of this new rulebook is the permanent ousting of two born princes who simply aren't worth the trouble anymore. Insiders have whispered for months that Andrew squatting in the royal lodge, that 30-room estate he refuses to leave, was poisoning the brand. His mother, Queen Elizabeth II, kept him safe for years, but that shield died with her. Behind the curtain, however, a plan was simmering. According to top estate sources, Princess Anne held two secret sit-downs in January 2026 with the legal team. The main topic? Dusting off Clause 17B from the 1994 estate deal. It lets them revoke housing if the tenant trashes the Crown's reputation. Anne is surgical with the rulebook, a staffer noted. She doesn't play politics. She executes protocol. Once Harry was moved, the precedent was locked in. Andrew was just the next domino. The timing was exact. On February 3rd, after Charles gave the nod, the eviction papers got a review. By February 6th, the legal notices to seize the lodge were drafted. Then, at 7:45 a.m. GMT on February 10th, a sealed packet marked reacquisition hit Sandringham for the King's signature. Inside was a final memo from Anne, countersigned by William and Catherine. The Crown can't choose nostalgia over standards, the note argued. If Harry is out, Andrew is disqualified. The legal setup is slick. Instead of dragging him out by force, the palace will use hidden property clauses, unpaid bills, and public shame to get the same result without looking cruel. So, why hit Harry first? It's all about how it looks to the people. Harry, a vet and former fan favorite, still had some goodwill left, especially with younger Americans and Brits. So, Cutting him loose had to look like justice, not just payback. Meghan's endless drama and the Riven Rock money mess made that easy. The 72-hour deadline, plus leaks about that $4.2 million shadow debt, painted a picture. Harry wasn't a victim. He was a guy who bet his legacy on a mortgage. Once that narrative stuck, ditching Andrew, who's been toxic since 2019, was an easy sell. This isn't just timing. It's a masterclass in storytelling. While Charles cleans house, the public has already moved on emotionally to the next generation. William and Catherine are crushing the polls. A YouGov survey from February 10th shows 81% of Brits see them as the future. Catherine's numbers with women aged 25 to 45 hit a historic 89% after she quietly locked down the royal wealth. It's not just PR. Catherine now runs the discretionary fund committee, effectively guarding the vault. Laudably never. She pushed for the legal firewall that blocks Harry, Meghan, or their kids from getting a pause. Single cent, unless they move back to the UK permanently. This wasn't cruelty. It was containment. Catherine did the unexpected. As one senior Treasury aide put it, she turned grace into governance. Meanwhile, Meghan Markle's last safety net, her Hollywood connections, is snapping. On February 9th, Clooney's Amal Foundation officially scrubbed Meghan from its donor list. Earlier that day, Tyler Perry's security team also pulled the plug, shielding the family fortune against outside demands. It is more than just optics. Catherine currently leads the Royal Discretionary Fund Oversight Committee, acting as the unofficial warden of the palace treasury. She personally drove the Duchy Firewall initiative that stops Harry and Meghan, or even their kids, from touching royal money, unless they move back to Britain for good. This wasn't malice, it was damage control. Catherine did the unexpected. A top Treasury source said she flipped elegance into enforcement. Simultaneously, Meghan Markle's last safety net, her Hollywood network, has imploded. On February 9th, the Amal Foundation officially dropped Meghan from its donor roster. Earlier that same day, Tyler Perry's security squad verified the cancellation of every current deal with the Sussex team, pointing to their unstable public image. Netflix and Spotify, who backed off a while ago, are allegedly planning a united breakup announcement, a step that implies the total elimination of all Sussex-branded media. Inside Meghan's Montecito headquarters, the vibe is reportedly grim. One anonymous financial consultant put it this way: she believed the royal ranking bought her a buffer. She missed that the ranking was the clock itself. And it's ticking. Now, Harry and Andrew are staring down a rigid mandate from the firm. March 31st, 2026. In Harry's case, if he doesn't lock in a permanent address or stop exploiting the monarchy's name, he gets scrubbed from the official family tree. As for Andrew, if he won't quit Royal Lodge, he faces eviction under Clause 17b, plus the likely stripping of perks like bodyguards and legal immunity. Basically, you're on the team or you're non-existent. 2 dukes, 2 disasters, and 1 ruthless organization. King Charles has launched his gutsiest play yet, but the real work involves the specifics that expose the mental collapse happening in Montecito, how Princess Anne is orchestrating silent legal evictions, and the weight of March 31st as a final cutoff, mirroring the abdication drama of 1936. The pieces are in place. The palace isn't playing defense anymore. They're on offense. Externally, the Sussex mansion in Montecito appears totally secure. High shrubbery, gated entries, and manicured grass hide the internal chaos. However, insiders claim the situation indoors isn't tactical anymore. It's a meltdown. Harry is allegedly checking out, going mute for long stretches, occasionally walking the same yard loop repeatedly. Meghan, in comparison, has gone into panic management, fielding non-stop calls with whoever is left on her payroll. A palace. Source, updated on info sent to Sandringham through back-channel diplomatic lines, had just a single word for the Sussex home: volatile. We aren't talking about moving boxes here. It's not just vacating a property or settling a bill. This is a total ego crash occurring on a strict timeline, a countdown driven not only by royal rules, but by visa authorities and corporate termination agreements. Several witness reports spotted Prince Harry solo at Butterfly Beach early on February 10th and back on the 11th. A runner in the area said he was perched on a log. No bodyguards anywhere. He was just gazing at the ocean. Sat stone still for almost 60 minutes. Sources say he's barely talking to staffers. One claimed he's checking out mentally, he knows the score, but won't take the wheel. This mental retreat is the total opposite of Meghan's frantic energy. Friends of the pair mention she is attempting to cut deals, clinging to the fantasy that a rushed docuseries, an 11th-hour backer, or a bombshell interview could rescue them. Yet palace contacts insist the memo from the UK is crystal clear. No delays, no waivers, no meetings. The core of this breakdown is a harsh reality. Their whole brand relied on two bets: that they'd keep royal access on the sly, and that public love would shield them from scandals. Both bets failed. Losing Riven Rock means losing their prestigious home base. Stripped of titles, they have no diplomatic immunity or legal shields. With popularity tanking, Hollywood doesn't view them as moneymakers. A memo slipped from a major LA crisis PR firm summed it up. Sussex isn't a label anymore. It's baggage. Profitability is risky. They've lost the plot. And the big companies are reacting. Netflix has put a permanent hold on prepping their next film projects. Spotify scrubbed archetypes from all promoted lists. Endeavor allegedly turned down Meghan's pitch to bring back her solo podcast. As Meghan hustles and Harry retreats, Princess Anne is stepping up as the silent boss of this restructuring. Working out of her Gatcombe Park home, Anne has run a string of secure meetings with royal lawyers, real estate brokers, and Windsor operations crews. Her job: set up the upcoming evictions. Top priority: the Royal Lodge handover. The goal is to turn the lodge into temporary housing for visiting military brass and government events, matching the King's strategy to optimize assets. Insiders claim Anne's private note stated, "There is no future scenario where the lodge stays a personal hideout for scandal." Anne also kicked off an audit of every minor royal getting money or help. Some staff are calling it the silent cutback. That March 31st cutoff isn't random. It's the day the loan default clause hits Riven Rock, kicks into gear. The British royal fiscal calendar is resetting for second quarter payouts. The updated letters patent from the late Queen's transition plans are now legally binding. Simply put, anyone failing to meet the Crown's strict residency and behavior codes by March 31st will be totally wiped from the books. For Harry and Andrew, this means zero official duties, denied access, and removal from royal records. Palace insiders call it the silent purge. No public drama, no big ceremony, just a quiet extraction, like being ghosted by the firm. Meanwhile, over in the States, the Sussex drama has flagged the interest of federal immigration officials. Harry's one visa, reserved for individuals with extraordinary ability, is reportedly facing an internal audit. 2 key factors are under the microscope: his past drug use, which he confessed to in Spare, and his shifting reason for staying, as he no longer keeps a steady home base in the U.S. An anonymous source from Homeland Security noted, bluntly, "Once your residency crumbles and your business backing vanishes, that visa is largely at risk. If they pull the visa, Harry could face deportation or have to scramble for a green card through Meghan's citizenship, making their legal standing with the palace even messier. The royals didn't plan this. but it fits perfectly with their playbook. Let the real world dish out the punishment while the monarchy stays mum. The genius of this approach isn't about fighting, it's about letting the machinery do the heavy lifting. Charles, William, and Anne aren't battling Harry or Andrew head-on. They're just letting the legal, financial, and constitutional gears grind them down until they collapse, under their own weight. As a constitutional expert on the royals put it, this isn't payback, it's a reset. They're done, pretending this is a family spat. It's strictly business. Back in Montecito, the mansion is practically deserted. Furniture has been hauled out of the main rooms, and staff have been let go in batches. Paparazzi drones are buzzing overhead, yet there's been zero official word. A former employee who left late last night claims the phones are dead silent, but voicemails are full. Calls from London are going unanswered. Harry is reportedly still stonewalling his father. Rumor has it Meghan tried reaching out to Princess Beatrice and Sarah Ferguson for some backup, but got the cold shoulder from both. Their world is shrinking fast. 48 days until names get scrubbed, until legal status is rewritten, until the House of Windsor redefines who actually belongs. The big question is whether Harry will finally clap back or if he'll let history repeat itself, ending up not as a modern maverick, but as another exiled Duke of Windsor. Nobody thought we'd see the day when two of Queen Elizabeth's sons would both lose their standing at the same time. One who left by choice, the other iced out from within. But sources now verify that the firm is carrying out a calculated, sweeping cleanup, the likes of which hasn't happened since the abdication crisis of 1936. This isn't an accident, it's a blueprint. While the public sees a sudden crash, Harry fleeing Montecito in the dark, Andrew getting booted from Royal Lodge, and Hollywood turning its back. On the Sussexes, it's actually the finale of an 18-month strategic overhaul, designed to contain the damage and salvage the brand. Leading this charge is a surprising team: King Charles III, Princess Anne, and the future King and Queen, William and Catherine. During a private strategy meeting at Windsor on October 18, 2025, these four power players reportedly locked in a deal to steer royal operations through 2026. Dubbed the Windsor Doctrine, the rule was simple: we stop protecting the brand by covering for the family. We protect it by holding them accountable. This marked the death of Queen Elizabeth's passive approach. Replacing it is a sharper, legally fortified machine ready to cut ties publicly and unapologetically. From then on, Harry and Andrew stopped being shielded assets and became liabilities to be managed. February 2026 wasn't a random date. Palace insiders state that 5 separate events created the perfect storm to act. First, financial deadlines. That $4.2 million bridge loan on Riven Rock was due April 1st, giving the palace a clear view of Sussex bankruptcy. Second, the media tide turned. Press in both the UK and US had soured on the couple, making it easier to strip their titles without public outcry. Third, Andrew wouldn't budge. His refusal back in October 2025 to leave Royal Lodge gave Charles and Anne the excuse to drop the hammer. Fourth, Catherine's legal maneuvering. The estate amendment signed in January 2026 effectively cut off the money supply for anyone living abroad. Finally, the U.S. visa audit. By late January, the British Embassy received official word about a pending visa audit targeting Prince Harry, handing the palace an outside safety net regarding public pressure. The real kicker here is that the monarchy isn't merely stripping titles, they are strategically manufacturing irrelevance. Rather than blasting out statements condemning the Sussexes or Andrew, the establishment has silently scrubbed mentions of Harry's charity work from official sites and rerouted every question concerning the royal lodge straight to the Crown Estate. They also cut the line between Kensington and Clarence House and the Sussex, or York camps. One constitutional expert calls it institutional suffocation. They aren't launching an attack, they're pulling the plug. Legally speaking, the Crown isn't breaching any contracts with Harry or Andrew, but it refuses to bankroll, shield, or validate them whatsoever. A top source at the Royal Treasury verified that all optional payments tied to old offices were cut off as of January 31st, 2026. Private security. Funding for Andrew was blocked on February 6th. Plus, honorary entry codes for royal estates were killed on February 10th. On top of that, Anne reportedly slammed the brakes on transferring assets, from family trusts to Harry's kids, Archie and Lilibet, until their legal home base is confirmed in the UK. This isn't about punishment, Anne supposedly told a closed session. It's about order. While Charles hands down the royal mandate, William and Catherine are the ones driving the culture shift. They haven't sat for interviews, made fiery statements, or sent out a single tweet. Still, every news channel, opinion poll, and op-ed now paints them as the face of the modern monarchy, and that is no accident. Catherine has been quietly meeting with BBC and ITV execs since January to rebuild the family brand around stability, public service, and privacy. William has silently absorbed the military titles that used to be Harry's, cementing his status as both heir and soldier. The pair allegedly filmed a video set to air in April, timed to match their expected promotion to co-executive reps for the sovereign under a soft regency model. This represents the future, not a scandal or an exile, but institutional evolution. Desperate to flip the script, Meghan is chasing what palace insiders dubbed the nuclear option, a streaming docuseries with the working title The Exit Blueprint, tracking their last months in Montecito, covering Harry's crumbling bond with Charles, and the supposed cash freeze. Sources claim the project already tripped a fresh clause in the royal legal charter, the commercial forfeit clause, which allows for total stripping of titles if private royal comms are sold. If it drops before March 31st, the show could provoke an instant counterattack from the Crown, but more importantly, it could permanently slam the door on any chance of a comeback for Harry or his kids. Regarding Harry and Meghan, if they don't provide an address or comply, their HRH styles will be pulled from the kit, lineage records, and Archie and Lilibet's titles will be suspended indefinitely. As for Andrew, if he doesn't accept eviction voluntarily, the Crown Estate plans to auction the Royal Lodge residency rights to charitable groups focused on defense and national service. On the institutional front, William and Catherine are expected to officially take on deputy sovereign duties in mid-April, basically becoming the active face of the monarchy. While Charles sticks to constitutional tasks, the message will be crystal clear. The Crown endures not because it bends, but because it knows when to cut its losses. This isn't the unraveling of royalty. It's a rearming, not the collapse of a house, but the reinforcing of its foundation. As the British monarchy carries out its most decisive internal restructuring in decades, the global fallout is rippling across diplomatic, political, and media landscapes. What started as an in-house purge of two wayward royals has quietly morphed into a global test of the monarchy's clout and its new vision for stability. Within hours of Buckingham Palace's February 10th order, several Commonwealth allies got classified briefings from the UK Foreign Office. Canada, Australia, and New Zealand, which all keep the British monarch as head of state, were tipped off that changes to royal status, security details, and succession papers were being finalized by March 31st. In Ottawa, senior officials confirmed that Prince Harry and Meghan Markle would lose their diplomatic visitor status for Crown-linked events, starting April 1st. In Canberra, the debate has flared up again over whether to officially write residency rules for any future royal visits, specifically targeting non-working royals. These tweaks might sound like administrative red tape, but They mark a massive shift. The Crown is signaling that only fully embedded, active royals will carry international standing. Down in D.C., the chatter regarding Prince Harry's one visa is picking up steam. Homeland Security is teaming up with the IRS and the State Department to take a hard look at where his money comes from, who is sponsoring him, and where he claims to live. The main red flags? Exaggerating earnings, linked to the royal brand, leveraging diplomatic perks for private security deals, and not having a legit home base since the exit from Riven Rock. One State Department insider put it bluntly, if he isn't a working royal and doesn't have a job, his right to remain in the States disappears fast. Over across the pond, this cleanup has had a surprising side effect, restoring people's belief in the Crown's integrity. A fresh Ipsos Mori survey from February 13th shows 77% of voters see Prince William as the institution's ethical compass. King Charles's numbers have jumped 11 points, with necessary firmness going viral on UK social media. Even the anti-monarchy crowd in Parliament has stopped their usual complaints, realizing the palace is finally taking out the trash. Insiders say this isn't a fluke. William's silence is his heavy artillery, noted one staffer. While others create drama, he represents stability. Off camera, Meghan Markle is starting to test the waters for a shift into American political activism. Leaked correspondence reveals her staff contacting progressive PACS and women's rights organizations about building a post-royal civic platform. Though, experts warn, it's a gamble. Trying to escape a monarchy just to jump into politics could blow up in her face, ACNN analyst observed, particularly if she loses her titles right in the middle of a campaign. With the March 31st cutoff approaching, Meghan is under a microscope. If she tries to launch a new brand while hanging onto that Duchess label, it could spark a rapid erasure decree from the Privy Council. 45 days to go. 2 guys, 1 institution. The globe is watching as Harry and Andrew confront total exclusion not from history, but from influence, perks, and safety. As the sun goes down on the age of royal entitlement, the palace's endgame is silently kicking into gear. Behind Windsor's gold gates and the closed doors of Montecito, 2 separate destinies are set in stone, and there's no reversing it. Prince Harry, formerly a worldwide darling, is teetering on the edge of irrelevance. His last chance to provide proof of a real UK address and stop cashing in on his royal titles runs out at midnight on March 31st, 2026. If he fails, the official lineage records get an update. His HRH status, plus the birthright perks for Archie and Lilibet, will be officially suspended. Back in Montecito, insiders claim Harry has stopped answering calls. Meghan, on the other hand, is reportedly looking at deals for a desperate tell-all series, a move that might force an instant ban under the commercial forfeiture rule. Over at Royal Lodge, Prince Andrew is digging his heels in, but Anne's ultimate warning has landed. If he isn't out by April 15th, Crown officials will seize the property using legal clause 17b. No pomp, no pleading, no do-overs. The monarchy hasn't just defended its framework, it has rewritten the rulebook. A family famous for keeping secrets has drawn a line in the sand. Titles without duty mean nothing at all. Charles picked discipline over feelings. William picked quiet over drama. And Catherine, with steely determination, has become the ultimate gatekeeper between perks and service. We're in the last act. The names might stay, but the keys to the castle, the clout, and the history, those are gone. As the palace looks toward tomorrow, one hard truth rings out through the corridors of power. You're only royal as long as the